All right, everybody, welcome back to our next little quick stop here in this Carcass album review series. Of course, we are at our second last stop here with another EP, which, of course, we left off last time with an EP. And that was in 2014 with Surgical Remission Surplus Steel. And let's fast forward, 6 years and all the way to 2020, where we got this EP right here, Despicable. Kind of felt like it just dropped out of nowhere. But man, I was a fan by this point, right? So I mean, I was pumped when this thing dropped. I was talking about like in a past couple videos, like in 2013, like when Surgical Steel came out, right? I didn't know about the band yet, wasn't a fan of the band yet, right? So I didn't really get to feel that excitement. Well, for these next two albums, we're gonna, this one and the one after that we cover, I definitely was already a fan, big fan. So I got to, feel that excitement for those upon their release. So, but yeah, this thing, it just kind of dropped out of nowhere. I'm telling you. And man, was I glad. A little 4-song EP. I'm down with it, which, obviously made us all think, oh, whoa, they're gonna drop another album, and sure enough, they did. But yeah, today we're talking about this thing here, and what a badass EP. What a badass EP. I'm telling you, it's gonna be pretty tough kind of deciding, obviously it's gonna be tough deciding the rankings in general, but like especially when comparing this EP to the last one, it's like, man, both so good. Because we started on off with The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue. And man, right off the bat, you get the heaviest one off the EP here. With just, and I love the opening reminds me kind of the opening lick reminds me of that 1985 kind of that song, or opening rather, off the Surgical Steel. And they had the reprise of that same song on the last EP, and it kind of reminds me that kind of wailing sounding guitar lick they throw down. So that's definitely a cool kind of, and maybe it wasn't intentionally like they're picking back up with something kind of like that, but it kind of just reminded me of that, when going through these in order, back to back. And just heavy as all get out. The speeds all here on this one. Love the riff. Love the riff on this one. Very, very cool, and just great track right off the bat. Great opener. Like I said, especially with that cool kind of wailing guitar opening they got there. Then, man, it's tough, but this one, I think this one will have to be my favorite off here. This next one, track number 2, The Long and Winding Beer Road, or Beer Road, however you say it, right? But this one has got just such a cool little noodly kind of riff that's going on in it that is just super hooky too. Just climbing the scales, right? Very, very cool. I love the chords that are used, like especially like in the chorus, and then that main riff. It's a very, very just chunky song, but of just, man, very top-notch stuff. And really the production too adds that, which it's pretty much the same kind of production on the last EP and last album, Surgical Steel, and its EP. So which is a great thing, because that was just clean cut, crazy, death metal goodness. And that's exactly what we're getting on Long and Winding Beer Road again. Not quite sure how you say it, but I mean that is, out of the 4, I've got to say that's my favorite off here. Which, by the way, too, before I continue, even though I love that first song, out of them I would maybe have to say that's my least favorite on here. But even that, that's a tough one. You get 4 songs and you love them all. Very hard to pick a least favorite, but The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue would probably have to be my least favorite. But then we go with an interesting case here, because track number 3, Under the Scalpel Blade, will actually be featured on the next album that we look at, but was featured here first. So this one, that's what made me kind of which I totally forgot about. I forgot that this was even on this EP. I know the song from Torn Arteries mainly, but I just totally forgot that it was on this. But hey, that's cool. We'll talk about it twice because hey, it's a great freaking song, and I love the kind of chuggy riff that's going on here on this one. Very, very cool song that fits just as well here as it does on Torn Arteries. And sometimes that happens on some EP stuff where you get like I know like Celtic Frost on or Celtic Frost again. There's a lot of this stuff potato, right? I mean, but with Celtic Frost, it's like stuff off that Emperor's Return EP. Some of that made it on to the album Into Megatherion. I think that was re-recorded. I can't remember if this was. I think this is the same version and everything, same recording that is on Torn Arteries. But regardless, great freaking song, top tier, good stuff right there, off of here. Then we close it on out with Slaughtered in Soho. Another really, really cool riff that is kind of like track number 2 there, how it's just kind of noodly sounding, really, really clean and slick guitar tone while keeping that just heavy, heavy shit that they got going on, man. I mean, just awesome, awesome stuff with Slaughtered in Soho, and I think is a really, really, I mean, they could have really arranged these tracks in any way, and I think it would have been just fine. So that's a really cool thing too. Whenever all the tracks could, I mean, they of course all kind of have their places, right? And a lot of albums too, you can even love all the songs, but you would maybe be like, this one should have closed. This one I think maybe should have opened. This one is one of those cases where you could just rearrange these in any way, shape, or form, and I mean, all of it's good closer, good opener. But yeah, Slaughtered in Soho is probably, I mean, hell, we only got 4 tracks here. I might as well just say, like, my favorite's The Long and Winding Beer Road. Second favorite's probably Under the Scalpel Blade. Then I would go Slaughtered in Soho, and then The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue. But man, all good stuff, all great stuff. A must-own EP. I'm not sure if this one maybe slid under the radar for a lot of people or not. I know for me, I mean, I was notified right when it came out. You have saved stuff on your Spotify, right, when you're jamming out in the car. It'll give you little alerts and stuff about new releases, which is really cool. And that's how I, day one when this thing dropped, I was like, okay, sign me up for that, and was super, super hyped and glad that we got it, amidst the crazy year that 2020 was. We got a freaking Carcass EP. So, hey, there's that. And man, what a great freaking EP. And like I said, it's going to be really tough ranking not only just the Carcass discography in general, but the 2 EPs, and decide which one I like better, because they're both just so damn good. But yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this, and if it maybe, slipped through the cracks for you, or if you were like, maybe you got the notification the same as I did, that was like, hey, Carcass has dropped an EP, or you found out through some other manner. But man, the hype was real for me, because I figured an album was coming, and that's exactly what we got on the next and final album that we are going to look at of Carcass for the time being, right? I'm sure they'll drop something else, within a couple years or whatever. But that album is Torn Arteries. So stay tuned for that, guys, because we're going to look at that one next time. And then we're, of course, going to do the big ranking and then the reveal for the next discography we're going to be taking a look at. So lots of fun stuff going on. I'm thinking probably even we'll do maybe Saturday. I'm thinking about dropping a updated horror figure collection video, because man, it's been, God, maybe probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years since I've done the other one, and there's just been a lot. I got a lot of cool stuff I'd like to maybe show. So I'm thinking about doing something like that too, to kind of shake it up a little bit, throw something out like that. So we got some cool stuff going on, guys. But yeah, drop your thoughts on this EP. Are you guys digging these songs? Would you guys maybe want some of these songs besides, of course, Under the Scalpel Blade, just brought on over to Torn Arteries? I would have been down with some of that, but yeah, well, love to hear your thoughts on this, and stay tuned next time for our final Carcass album review of Torn Arteries before we do the big ranking. So like, subscribe, comment, guys. Thanks a ton for watching.